let's have a look at this now. The 2018's Module 1 alone section, right? So Module 1 section. For the bio. Oh, look at that. What a pretty cycle. Alright, I would have loved this paper. Alright, so outline the Krebs cycle. An outline of the Krebs cycle is given in figure 1 with compounds labeled A and G, well, A to G rather, and selected points in the cycle numbered 1 to 5. Write the answer in figure 1. Insert the number, writing your answer in figure 1, insert the number of carbon atoms contained in each of the compounds labeled B to G. That's crazy. That's so cool. All right. So what's the numbers now? What's B?
Five.
Six.
6.
Yes, a six carbon.
It is the citric acid or the citrates. Lovely. And then C for alpha ketoglutarate. How much is in alpha ketoglutarate?
Five.
How much is in succinyl CoA? Is succinyl CoA this? Yeah, succinyl CoA.
Five.
Is that 5?
Five.
Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Four.
Unless it reached four already. Okay, four.
Okay, 4. Wait, if this is 4, that means that everybody else is 4, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, 4 for our succinate, 4 for our fumarate, and 4 for our malate, right? Well, no. This would be crazy. I think this is
Oxyl acetate.
oxaloacetate
Yeah.
here. I think this is succinate that they're talking about. Succinate, then our fumarate, malate, then oxaloacetate. All right, lovely. All right, that should be fine. Moving on with our lives. Writing, oh wow, again, writing your answer in figure 1. Insert and, well, the input the products at the point numbered 4 as completed points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, so what is that for? This is easy. What is happening at 4?
F A F A D. The FAD.
Why this looks so. Alright, so this is at F. This is my attempt at an F. Alright, FAD. Alright, FAD. Okay, I'm so sorry you had to see that. And it became what, FAD. You know what? Let me just type it, yeah? Let me not embarrass myself. Alright, so FAD. And it's going to. Hey, stop. Alright, plus 2H plus. Alright, plus. And then we have up here so now FADH2.
So would you put the 2H plus though? Because looking at the cycle, they're only doing it for one round of the Krebs cycle instead of
Oh, okay.
two.
Alright, lovely that you realized that. Okay, so we'll keep it like this. Will just be a H plus, right? No, but 2H plus
Yes,
per
sir.
FAD because FAD is H2. No, so it's FADH2. So FAD, you need 2H to go on FADH2.
Sir, so that means that,
That's how it
that
works?
for a double, if you're for the double cycle, then it would be 4H.
Yes.
Okay.
That's how it works. How the molecule look? Let me figure out how the molecule look. So flavin, adenine, dinucleotide. Ooh. It's two hydrogens right at top, right? Two protons, yes. Alright. I think my brain lagged a while ago. Alright, lovely. So that was 3 marks. Explain the two main rules of the Krebs cycle. Oh my. Go ahead. What are the two main rules of the Krebs cycle?
So
sure why it's taking this long still. So energy production. Somebody's probably typing in chat and I'm not seeing. I'm so sorry.
Sir, sir produces energy, and doesn't it also produce like NVDH and NAD that we use to transport electrons?
Okay. Okay, lovely.
Sir, why answer like
Repeat.
sir, it's just the way that you answered, sir. Sir,
Oh,
you
okay.
answered like you were like that the answer that I gave wasn't
No, no, it's alright.
correct.
No, that's right. That's 4 marks. So just basically explain these two. Those are the two main roles now. Unless you want to talk about carbon skeleton production, which don't make no sense, or pH regulation, because the carbon dioxide produced can be used to maintain the pH in body fluids because it creates the buffer that we use. We're not gonna talk about that. Alright, go. Somebody raise a hand.
So I was saying that the Krebs cycle produces useful intermediates for other chemical reactions in the body, such as succinate, I think. I don't know if that makes sense.
Succinate. Succinate, not succinate. That's some weird way to pronounce it. But yeah, they can use the intermediates can be used to fuel other cycles, right? But I think the main two ones, which they're probably speaking about the ones that would contribute to respiration per se. So if they ask you for other roles, then that would be a lovely other role. It is a role, that wouldn't be a main role. Alright. So let's see what else. Oh no. Every single time I see photosynthesis on a past paper, my heart drops. Alright, so the rate of photosynthesis is measured in individual leaves of a plant species at different light levels. I don't know who would take their precious time out of their day to do this. Alright, on a grid. Okay, so you guys know how to create a graph, right? So which goes on which axis? Which is the x-axis?
Sir, the x-axis would be the light level.
Okay, everybody agree with that?
Because the rate of photosynthesis would be the responding
So you said
variable,
this would
right?
be the x-axis and this would be the y-axis?
Yes, sir.
Alright, so you guys can draw a graph. Using the concept of limiting factors, suggest three reasons for the shape of the graph. What would the shape of the graph look like?
Sir, it will increase and then plateau.
So they look something like this, right?
Yes, sir.
So if it don't look like that, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to close the paper, right? Don't even ask the invigilator. You're just going to get up and you're just going to leave the room. Alright?
Sir, yeah, I said we have to fill in.
No, not necessarily. But if your graph don't look like that, you have to wonder, what type of divine inspiration you need. Alright, so let's go. So using the concept of limiting factors suggests three reasons for the shape of the graph. Alright.
Sir, we're using sir, hold on. What are we using in the table again? Light
Light
level?
intensity.
The light intensity then. Um Sir, the plant is being supplied with enough light, sir. So um as light as light intensity increases, so does the rate of photosynthesis until it no longer becomes the limiting factor. So another variable will be hindering the increase of the rate of photosynthesis, or maybe it's just that it has reached the maximum amount of light that the plant can use at a time.
Okay. So, okay, do we support the fact that it could be just the amount of light that the maximum amount of light that the plant can use at the time? Do we support that value?
Sorry, could you I I don't know. Sir, maybe temperature?
It's temperature.
Sir, but then sir, you know why I don't want to even say temperature, sir, because sometimes the temperature can cause denaturing of enzyme and then we see a decrease in the graph.
Yeah, that most definitely could be it. So I'm looking at this here, right? It's a plausible point, but the shape of the graph would most definitely change. So temperature could have now been the limiting factor. That would be interesting, right? But the thing is, no, if temperature is the limiting factor, then it would go down. That's why I put an asterisk there,
Yes,
because yeah. So if you increase the amount of light, temperature will increase, right? But
yes,
the
sir.
but the graph itself is not showing temperature, right? It's showing light, so it wouldn't have shown the decrease specifically. We're looking at the light level and the rate of photosynthesis, right?
It
With
makes
that graph.
sir, could carbon dioxide also be, or maybe water per se, because these are necessary for photosynthesis to occur. So if those are limited, then it could lead to the plateau in the graph.
All right, so we're saying that something else could have become limiting factor because that's all that's what's discussed for. Right? Okay.
Yes,
So if we increase the temperature, that if we increase the amount of light energy, that could potentially increase the temperature, right? If we increase the amount of light energy specifically, because we know at the height of the day, carbon dioxide concentration actually decreases. Did we know that? We're aware of that, right?
yes, sir.
So as light intensity increases throughout the day, the well, carbon dioxide level actually decreases as well. So you could speak about that. But what are some other reasons that are not tied directly to light?
So maybe the plant can only absorb a certain wavelength of light. So could that?
So probably it's absorbing all the light that it can, and the rate of photosynthesis cannot be affected by increasing the light any higher. It's already absorbing the optimum level of light. Okay. So those are four reasons so far. Anybody else have anything to offer? Let me look in the chat real quick. So light saturation is a point.
Sir,
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
did you mention the point that before 75 standard units, no photosynthesis occurs?
Standard units.
So the light, yes, I would say that the plant cannot photosynthesize. Well, the threshold of light, don't feel it, that the plant uses to photosynthesize is 75 units from the graph.
So you cannot pass that threshold, right? So that's the threshold for light at 75 standard units. Okay. Right. So there's a light saturation point. Okay, you could
No,
speak
sir,
up.
I'm talking about the 75 before.
Oh, you're looking at the number itself?
Yeah, I'm looking at the table. So I'm saying before 75 standard units, the plant no photosynthesize. So we're saying that 75 is the threshold, the minimum standard light that it needs to photosynthesize.
Okay,
So
we could.
after that, it starts to photosynthesize.
Okay. So you'd say that would be a reason for the shape of the graph as well?
Yeah, because then the graph wouldn't necessarily start from zero on the x-axis.
It wouldn't.
Well,
Okay.
it
It
wouldn't. It
wouldn't
wouldn't
necessarily.
start from the origin where 2 0.
Yeah, so it wouldn't start from the origin. So a part of it would just be flat and it would start photosynthesize at 75. Okay. That is an important thing to note as well. Hmm. Okay. So I think we discussed. It's 3 marks. And I'm looking for like to like a 6 marks or something. It's 3 marks, so 3 points should be fine enough for that. And for this, no, huh? I haven't seen you guys in a while. All right. So we're looking here at the cross section of a phloem. Wow. All right. So how interesting, how phenomenal, right? So draw and label diagram of two phloem cells types shown in figure B. All right. So we need to draw a cross section. I need to draw a longitudinal section. Can you guys draw?
Sir, you should actually go to question 4.
Repeat.
That's module 2.
Oh, it's module 2. This is module 2? Oh, yes, it is module 2. I never saw that. Alright, hold on.
Sir, so from just to the word phloem, sir, you never realized.
Well, I haven't done biology in a while. I don't know. Okay, the thing is, no, I honestly my brain just kicked in a while ago. I was about to do the entire paper. I forgot what said module 1 alone. Let me see if there's a section B. Did it say section A at the top?
Sir, to be honest, looking at the module 1 questions, sir, would you say that the module 1 questions are manageable?
They're very much so. I think they are really manageable.
Yeah.
Actually. Module 2, no, that's the best thing ever. The thing is, now, module 2 is not too easy. And that's why I like it. Because things have to be a little bit more challenging to be interesting. You see all this question? Crazy stuff in that question. Alright, hold on. Let me look for the module, for the part B, for the module 1 question here. This is section B. Lovely. For a top carnivore to be numerous in an ecosystem, it must feed at many different levels of the food chain and not just the one beneath it. Discuss the veracity of this statement. A bad 6 marks.
Sir, what is veracity?
So the problem is not, the issue is not biology, but it's English language.
Sir, but listen. Sir, they could have just said discuss the extent to which this statement is true. Sir, what all of a sudden veracity?
The veracity. Oh boy. I love biology. Alright. Go ahead though. Discuss the veracity of this statement.
Sir, could a point be that so I'm going to assume that veracity means the extent to which the statement is feasible or true.
What is
Sir, could a
veracity?
point be that
Basically stated the definition word for word.
okay. Sir, could a point be that basically instead of the carnivore getting its source of energy just from the level below in its food chain, it's able to attain energy using from different parts of the food chain. Like for example, say you have like fish, and like the level below like the carnivore is, for example, say a meerkat or something like that. It could eat both the meerkat and the fish to obtain its energy instead of just using like one level of the food chain basically to obtain its energy.
Alright, okay. I understand what you're saying, and you're completely okay for that, right? But let's awaken your inner humanities, alright? So it says must. So I don't think I would accept that. The thing is, no, I know what you're saying and it's completely truthful, but does it discuss the veracity of the statement? Veracity refers to the truthfulness or the accuracy of a statement. The veracity. Come on, the veracity. Let's go. Come on.
Oh, it says must.
Must. Because you're saying it can. Go ahead,
Oh,
Kamoy.
well, sir, not necessarily, not necessarily. At least to me.
Okay. But Mr. Sinclair, I think Chris is on. Let me hear from Mr. Sinclair.
Yeah, probably. Okay. All right. So, so as we all know that energy cannot only 10% of the energy goes up a food chain every trophic level. So for a carnivore to be at the top, sorry, for carnivore to be apex predators or just carnivore?
It's
Okay.
top carnivore, so
So
you
for
could
the
say apex.
predator to be numerous in an ecosystem, it has to feed at multiple trophic levels because at one trophic level, which would be the top, there is not enough energy going up there to share for loads of carnivores. So for it has to feed at lower trophic levels to ensure that it can that 10% that it's getting is going to be big enough for it to actually sustain itself, which is an all over the place answer.
Okay, so it can only gain 10% from the trophic level beneath it. Therefore, it must feed from subsequent trophic levels in order to live, right? It must feed from other trophic levels. Speak about the fact that majority of the energy that enters in the ecosystem is not used, right? Speak about the fact that the producers contain 100% of the energy that is in the ecosystem specifically, and you lose 10% as you go up, right? So once you reach the tertiary the apex predator, which is usually the quaternary consumer, right? You could also use a example, right? You can use an example. Some persons fail to use examples or diagrams or something. You see all of this space. I think I said it in chemistry unit too as well. You see all that space there. You can write in that space. It's only here it's a do not write. So if I draw the diagram and mention to the diagram and stuff like that, if I say that, for example, my top apex predator, my top carnivore is in the quaternary trophic level, right? Then you could speak about the amount of percentage of energy that it's getting, right? So 100% to 10% to 0.1%, speak about how little amount of energy is going up there, and the fact that in order to sustain itself, it must feed from other energy levels, right? So what you're supposed to do is discuss whether or not this statement is true. And to discuss, no, you can always use different angles to really discuss it, right? You could use pyramids of energy as well. Draw a pyramid of energy and speak about it, right? There are different ways we can look at it, right? It's 6 marks though. So if you explain what a top predator is, explain that this pyramid of energy only supplies enough energy for a small amount of them to exist up there. Explain that only a small amount is transferred throughout the trophic level. Explain the fact that it must, and you're describing the truthfulness of the statement, that it must feed from different energy levels in order to sustain itself. Right? That's 6 marks. It's a discussion. Right? When you look at probably like biology courses, zoology courses, botany courses at UE, there are essays that you have to write. So like this is a preparation for that. So you need to be able to discuss these things, the truthfulness of the statement. That is what veracity speaks to, the truthfulness. Alright? So we have that there. So speak about those things and you should be able to get those marks. The next question, within an ecosystem, within any ecosystem, biodiversity exists at 3 levels: genetic, species, and ecosystem. Discuss the interaction among these 3 levels of biodiversity, including your answer and explanation of each level: genetic, species, and ecosystem diversity. So I would love for you to define all, explain all, and explain the interactions between all. Right? The interactions would most likely allow you to speak to ecosystem diversity first, then species, then genetic. That's the best way to speak about their interactions with each other. Alright, that's the best strategy. But go ahead. What is ecosystem diversity?
Repeat, sir.
What is ecosystem diversity?
Sir, doesn't ecosystem diversity basically hold on? Sir, okay, sir, I'm back. Sir, doesn't ecosystem diversity basically refers to like a variety of ecosystems like in a specified like location or area?
Okay, geographical area or region. All right, so it speaks to the variety of ecosystems within that area, right? In a geographical region or on a global scale. So it encompasses different types of habitats within the same area. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So what is species diversity? Somebody else tackle it for me, please. Species. Somebody else must can answer that. Somebody else has to be able to answer it. Go ahead. Since nobody else is answering.
No, sir. It's me again. Sir, should I answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So species diversity then would basically be like various different species found within like a biome.
Okay, so different species that exist within the same area. So the abundance and variety of different species. And then genetic diversity. I'm not sure whether or not anybody else will answer. So you can go ahead and explain genetic diversity as well.
Is basically the same thing as everything else, but variation of like genetic makeup or information within like species or populations.
A single species. Okay. So they're all interconnected. How are they interconnected?
How are they interconnected?
Yes. Discuss the interactions among these three levels of biodiversity. It's in the question. How are they interconnected? Right.
Um, some somebody else want to answer, or should I continue?
Okay, let me just ask, does anybody else want to answer how they're interconnected in this way? How do they interact with each other?
Sir, I think both genetic and species diversity contributes to the diversity of an ecosystem because those are what makes up the ecosystem.
All right, so those are two aspects of what make up the ecosystem. All right, anyone else?
So I think genetic diversity influences species diversity in that it may lead into species that word they will learn from unit one if the genes get too diverse, so then kind of
Okay, that's
create a
true.
new species essentially.
Okay, so both of you guys spoke about species and genetic diversity, and ecosystem is also there. So how do we tie in ecosystem diversity?
Sir,
Go ahead.
does like ecosystem diversity it basically like provides like a variety of ecological niches. So because of that, it allows for species to diversify themselves to adapt to these niches. Because remember that with these niches, for example, if you have one species basically dominating a species, that could lead to isolation by essentially like the same kind of species but like a bit different, so it could lead to isolation, and this leads to genetic diversity, which leads to species diversity just for the adapt just to adapt to um the competition or the predation that might be happening in the ecosystem.
Okay, that's an interesting take on it. Okay, so hmm. All right, so as I mentioned at the beginning of the question, I think that when you're talking about the interactions, it is best to talk about ecosystem, then species, then genetic, right? So we know that the ecosystem diversity provides the framework for species diversity by offering these different habitats, right? And niches, right? So we have that there. So there it provides a framework for species diversity there. While genetic diversity within species enhances their ability to thrive within those said habitats, the same habitats that the ecosystem diversity provide. So the three of them are able to maintain, interact to maintain the balance and I would say the stability, resilience, and resistance of the ecosystem itself, contributing to the overall health of the environment. So I would just talk about something like that. Alright. And that essentially would be the last thing. So you define three, explain how three of them interact. That's 9 marks. Alright. So that's it.